you're trying to solve every problem that you don't have before you have it. You have to be able to solve it. If you're not a problem solver, this is probably not the place. If you're a problem solver, you can do any of this stuff. Neither one of us were honor students. I mean, we figured it out and know, hey, there's some things I can't tackle, but there's a guy who knows how to do it. It might cost us, but we'll learn as we go. It's the big key.
What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 7 of Millionaire Misfits podcast, where our mission is to turn everyday misfits like us into millionaires like our guests. We're after financial freedom. We're after independence from the day job, traveling the world, and basically having total control over our time. That's the goal. In the studio today, we have Dan Coom, a good buddy of mine. He has around a full-time job. He has built a business for buy and hold real estate, fix and flip real estate. He is a real estate investor and business owner. This guy's got a ton of great advice for you guys. Stay tuned, and Dan, tell him what to expect.
Yeah, Dan was awesome to have on. Just a ton of motivational stuff about how you can do all this stuff while having a full-time job. But also, if you guys have ever wondered if you can be highly successful with no social media presence, stick around and watch this episode.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's a good one.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Welcome back to the Millionaire Misfits podcast. I'm Eric Stewart. It's my co-host,
Dan
Edwards, which is important to differentiate today because our guest is...
I'm Dan Coom.
There we go. All right. We have a good episode today. This is my buddy in real estate investing, and we're going to be chatting all things real estate, side hustles, and how to get started in wealth building. And I mean, what we want to take it from the top, I guess. We always want to kind of touch base on like where you're at now, just to kind of get some of the credentials out of the way, you know, like how have you found success in real estate and business today? And then maybe we can go all the way back to the beginning and like, how did you get started and like kind of what flipped the switch for you?
No, that's great. So currently I have a W-2 job. So I'm kind of a traveling service and sales rep. And then we also have a home flipping company. We have single family rentals. We have kind of a power sports brokerage business.
Oh, wow.
We recently sold our manufacturing company. I think the last thing we have is we're actually working on a commercial shop condo build now.
So you have a lot of free time there.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Before he started all these things, before he did.
So how long have you been at your day job?
I've been at this particular day job 7.5 years, I think.
Oh, wow.
So I've had a W-2 job since I left college.
Yeah. So how long have you been like doing the real estate side of stuff?
So I actually started real estate about the same time I started this job. So I've been doing it 7 years now, something like that, just under 7 years.
Wow.
Sweet.
I didn't know the power sports business. Are you partnered up with anybody on any of this stuff, or is this all just Dan?
So all just Dan at this. Me and my wife helps out on some stuff, but otherwise it's just the two of us. And
so what is the power sports? What is that?
so essentially what we did is we were trying to figure out a way. I mean, for me, the end goal is always, how do you buy more real estate? So what I did is it kind of turned into, how do you come up with more money? You have a set income at your W-2 job. Other than taking another job, there's really no way to increase your income. So how do you do it outside of work? So I like fishing. I like hunting. I like all those things. Well, all those things require high dollar toys if you really want to, if you want to get into it.
You want to do it right, you know?
So my key is, okay, can you buy a fishing boat or can you buy a house? So what I started doing is realizing, just no different than real estate, is you can buy a boat cheaper, and then I would run it for the whole season, sell it at the end of the season, then take the profits and go buy a house.
Oh, nice.
So then you do that 1 or 2 times, you realize there's some money here to be made. So start buying 2 or 3 boats at a time, 4 or 5 boats a year. And then it continually cycles, because then you buy more boats, you can buy more houses. And it's just a continuous,
That's awesome.
It's like a drug addiction. It's really what it is.
It's like a snowball. It just continues to grow. But I didn't know that you bought boats.
Boats, snowmobiles, 4-wheelers, campers, anything that moves or has a motor, we're probably buying it. So
are you buying them brand new?
No, so we'll
used?
buy them mostly from auctions and things.
Oh, okay.
So we just bought a couple tractors the other day just to have them shipped here and turn around and sell them locally, or put them back on a different auction and
That's
just
awesome.
turn around and sell them.
Me and you were like it was about the time I started.
Whoa.
I was like, how do I'm like, this is great, but I'm like, I want to start something small just to give me that little bit extra cash to like start another thing to produce more income and like snowball it kind of like what you're doing right now. So
Mhm.
that's super cool that you're doing that already. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
It works good. The thing I like is if you never take cash out, then all you do is you buy bigger and bigger deals every time. And
Yeah.
then you get to a certain point where you got enough. Now you can do 2 deals at the same time. So you can do it on $1,000 item. You can do it on $100,000 item. It's just wherever you want to start,
Yeah.
honestly.
Dang.
Wow. And that's just compound growth from there.
Mhm.
So like your day job pays for your living expenses and then maybe some savings. And then like all this stuff on the side is just for what, like retirement or all to plow towards real estate?
Almost everything's going into real estate. I don't take any money out of any of the businesses. So my day job takes care of all your living expenses and your retirement funds, and
Mhm.
everything else is just plowing into real estate, just building the account big enough so you can take all that money back out and buy something else with it. So
That's so awesome.
Dang.
Just growing the snowball and just letting
Mhm.
it exponentially grow over the years. That's such good advice just right there. But yeah, I love how it's like the end game is always clear. It's real estate or whatever like your holding vehicle of choice is. But real estate, we both know pretty well, and it's always growing in value. Well, I shouldn't say always, but you
that's
know,
the
like
hope, yeah.
it's a pretty secure, safe bet for your investment money.
Mhm.
And then when you're growing it actively, like on the side, you don't really count on that income to live off of. So you can just keep putting it right back into the business. And it's more of like you're building something than you are like earning money because you don't touch the cash. You don't even look at it like spendable, right? You're not buying like those toys for yourself. Maybe you get to, I don't know, play with them a little bit before you sell them.
No, and that's for me the biggest thing is it allows me to, if I just had my regular job and that's all I did, I find that I'm way more conservative. So if we have a bad year where you're doing all the other stuff, I tend to be more conservative in what I'm buying. Whereas if you know you have extra income, you get to take bigger risks. So we did it, had enough cash stockpiled, then you start flipping houses, and then you take that and you're just going to the next level. But I wasn't comfortable flipping houses on just a regular salary.
Mhm.
Once you have the second one, you can take bigger risks because it's a big risk to do some of that stuff.
Have you been doing the power sports stuff the same length as everything else, or did that start before the real estate stuff and the
It started on a very small scale. It's been going on a long time, but really scaling into it. And it's like, okay, so you spend all your money to buy your first rental. Well, you got really nothing left to go buy and you can't have any fun because you got all your money tied up. So that's where it really started to scale is once you start buying rentals and everything else, trying to find a way to have the rentals, but have the toys, but you only own your toys for the 3 months you need them and then you sell them and
yeah,
then you can go to the next season. So it worked out good to do that. But that's about the time we started scaling up.
nice.
That's so awesome. And so that's strictly just buying and selling, right?
Yep.
Buying and selling for a profit. Okay. Nice. That's awesome. So you have rentals and the flipping business and the power sports retail business or
Yep.
whatever. I'm not sure the
I'm not either.
preferred nomenclature. But I mean, okay, so that's another line of income, but that's more on the active side, right? You're constantly looking for deals. You have to educate yourself on values, wholesale and retail values, shipping costs probably.
Yep.
And then I don't know where you store all this stuff too. I mean, is that why you're building the shops?
Honestly, that was the first reason to build the shops. Is you got our first tenant and it's us already. So.
Yeah, there you go.
So when and why did you kind of make that decision of I'm going to start doing this power sports stuff and the real estate in addition to the W-2 job? Like, you know, like, did you have like a big moment of like, I just want extra cash, or like, was there like a driving force behind that, or why'd you?
For me, it was probably the idea of knowing I'm missing deals because I didn't have the cash. I haven't ever been a big fan of partners, and there's nothing against having partners. For me, I like the control of my own deals. So with knowing you don't want partners and knowing you're missing deals at the same time, you can only make so much at your regular job without going to a different job. And still your incremental growth is not there. So my idea is we need to figure out a way to buy more deals, do more so we can keep buying more is really what it came down to.
Yeah.
And that was, for me, it was the easiest option because I was already doing it before it was really a goal of mine.
What made you think about like real estate in particular?
I fell into the trap that everybody falls in as you get on Facebook and you see everybody's life. And the more I do it, the more I realize it's all fake. But I started meeting the guys that were doing it locally, and a couple of guys we've hunted with and other things we've done. Guys I know in the other industries I'm in that do it always tell me it's a great solution. And so I figured we'd do some research. And once I do research, you kind of get down that avenue, analysis paralysis, and finally just said, screw it, we got to do it. And it's been downhill from there, I guess you could say.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, a lot of the times when like people are interested in real estate for the first time, they'll have like some life event or like they'll be frustrated with where they are or something. Part of me like wanted to get started because I wanted just to do something something like an adult, like to feel like I was doing something with my life. And then I found Bigger Pockets and I listened to all those podcasts and stuff, and hearing like these average dudes talk about how they made these crazy profits or like crazy return on investments. And I'm like, okay, like that, I'm intrigued, and then just like you said, rabbit hole, you go down like this deep. Then it's like, okay, now I kind of get it. I have the confidence, but like the analysis paralysis was, I had to stop listening to podcasts for like a year. I'm like, I'm not going to listen to another episode, read another book until I get a deal. Didn't want to be one of those people that just never took action either.
I'm sure you've saved all your spreadsheets from every deal you've ever underwrote. And
yeah, exactly. I mean, they're probably in there somewhere, but.
So what did that timeline for you look like when you kind of started hearing about the real estate, started talking to some of the guys how long did you kind of look into it and do the research before you did your first deal in real estate?
It was probably 6 months.
Oh,
so
wow.
I bought my first house, and then that was about the time where I really started meeting the guys that were doing it. And it was about 6 months time. And actually it made me comfortable enough to do it because I actually bought a house that was 10 doors down the street from me.
Oh, wow.
So
Nice.
you hear all these terrible tenant stories, and the more you get into it, the more you realize they don't always happen. But
Yeah.
I was so nervous that someone's going to burn my house down while I was
Oh.
gone. So you could drive by it every day. Your motion's a little bit of ease there. And that for me was the big stepping stone is right down the street from me. So you can take care of it all. And you hear a lot of bad stories on the internet, and
Oh yeah, people catastrophize, and that's the stuff that gets shared the most.
No one tells you their wins.
No, not as
Yeah.
much, And then people don't share it. It's not as like viral.
The disasters get more clicks.
Yeah, they do. So that kind of gave you the confidence to like, okay, like this is not as bad as I thought. Like maybe it would be fine if it was across town or wherever, Okay. So how old were you when you got that first deal?
I'm 32 now, so 7 years, that'd be 25.
Solid. Yeah,
I'm
25.
slacking.
Yeah, you are slacking. You see people who are 20 years old starting in the business, and you see people that are like 40, 50 getting started.
How old were you when you bought your...
My Moorhead house?
what was your first one after the Moorhead house?
That was like the Canby house that I bought with the funds from the Moorhead house.
How old were you when you bought that?
Like 20. I was
wow.
I was so young. I had no idea what I was doing. And I wish I could say that because I got started earlier, it helped grow the snowball all those years. But like I spent a lot of years not knowing what I was doing and not understanding how to keep rolling profits. Like you were saying, like those are really good fundamentals, but I didn't have a job. I was still in college, didn't have like a high paying career path laid out for me either. And like that helps when you have that disposable income to start thinking about your discretionary stuff and like, oh, okay, like I have 30K extra a year, 50K, 100K extra a year. Like, what do I do with it? How do I maximize it? If you're just living paycheck to paycheck in your early 20s, you're not really thinking about how to spend an extra 100K I don't have, know? So it's a nice problem to have, like having extra cash. And if you're smart with it, you're not blowing it on toys or just dumb stuff.
Or if you're smart with it, you are blowing it on toys.
That's
like
true.
Dan over here.
You're the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
That's smart. But
So
25 when you bought your first deal. That's pretty solid. And then you've just been systematically taking them down ever since.
Yeah.
Nice.
And for me, we haven't really like broken out of the mold. Once I find what I like to do, that's what I just stick with. And like now we specialize in buying twin homes in town, and I'm buying them without ever going inside of them. I can see one picture on the outside, one picture on the inside, and we'll have an offer to them already.
Wow.
Essentially within a day of being on the market. So
Dang.
Do you
for
make
me.
offers on every twin home that comes up, or?
No, I usually don't write an offer on everything. Just write the offers on the ones that look like they could use an offer, I guess.
So I was gonna say, because I'm like, what do you tend to look for when you're looking for your next deal? Like, are you looking for outdated? Are you interested in that kind of stuff, or you tend to look for more of the deals that are maybe have some updating to do so you can get a better deal on it?
For me, there's two ways to buy it. So the realtor screwing up on the pricing is usually the first one. So I have two different criteria I look at. I look at days on market under 3, and then days on market over 45. Anything in the middle, there's usually a reason they'll eventually sell in that middle. But the first day or two on the market, a lot of times people will underprice their houses. So you can pick a lot of them up out the first day, or you wait. We bought one last year that was on the market for 90 days. I think the offer was $50,000 under their asking on a $200,000 house. They had to get out. So that's kind of in that middle range. Either you catch somebody screw up right away, or you wait till nobody else wants it.
Yeah.
That's the opportunity zones.
Yep.
And like the higher probability of taking advantage of that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to quick test your knowledge on twin homes. It's a JNL 1672 square foot, 3-bed, 2-bath, bi-level twin home. I'm sure you're familiar with that product. Fully updated. What do you think that's worth? on the market?
Somewhere between 269 and 289, depending on what the inside looks like and when you sell it.
And does that vary a whole lot from neighborhood to neighborhood? Because Westport Beach is not the only area J&L builds.
I would say, yeah, it definitely depends on where it's at in town. Especially you go into Moorhead, you drop the value by 30, 40,000 bucks right away. But
Really?
the further south, the further west you get.
Oh, wow.
Is
that just Minnesota versus North Dakota?
anything
or what?
if you're paying the same price for a property in North Dakota as you are in Minnesota, I think you're getting screwed in Minnesota. There should be a significant discount. And you watch your days on market over there, it's longer, higher taxes, higher everything.
Dang. So for the listeners, obviously I know what it is, but for the listeners, what the hell was all that stuff you just said about a house?
Oh, just some of the jargon.
Yeah.
I guess a 3-2 would be like a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. J&L is the builder of the twin home. Twin homes, I guess, is not a universal term. I like some of my buddies from around the States are like, what the hell is a twin home?
Really?
It's just like a duplex that's individually parceled. So like they're attached like a firewall
It's
down the
basically
middle.
two houses combined that share a wall.
Yeah, they're just mirror images of each other, but the parcel goes right down the middle. You're responsible for only your half of the house. They're sold individually, that kind of thing.
Now you guys know. Just I mean, I obviously I knew, but
Right, yeah, obviously.
You had mentioned that like you're watching the market like online.
Yep.
So you don't do a lot of like off market deals talking to like for sale by owner, or do you still look for those?
I don't do any of my own marketing. I've done it a couple different times. It's never really worked out because I've never had the follow through. Too many other things going on. Most of the stuff we buy is on the market. Now we are working with some wholesalers now going forward that all of our flips are coming off the market and some of the rentals we're getting now are off the market, but most of the stuff comes on market, honestly.
You tend to buy or look for as much as you can off market, right, Eric?
Yeah, I like the off market fixer uppers.
Yeah, that's cool that I'm sure there's 1,000 different ways to do real estate investing. Like,
but we agree that the fixer uppers are the way to go, or there's the motivated sellers. You know, if they have some kind of issue, you know, then they kind of put themselves in a different category. Most people want top dollar for their property that's in great shape. But then there's people who have some kind of issue, either it's personal, financial, or with the property, and the price for their home is no longer the most important part of the transaction to them. Like sometimes speed and assurance of closing, like if they're guaranteed to get a closing and they get X amount of dollars to like go, I don't know, like find an apartment or pay off debt or something. So all these other things are valuable to them other than the price. That's still valuable, but it's like the speed makes up for some of the discount you get. So those are the types of buyers that value add investors look for. Or like there's change of use strategies too. If you're a value add investor and you buy a house, you turn it into an Airbnb, you change the use basically from a long-term rental to a short-term rental. And that is like a value add deal. So you don't need to buy a fixer upper to force the equity. You can maybe just hack the cash flow. You probably won't get a ton of extra equity turning it into an Airbnb because you can't sell it based off the income, but you can change the use and kind of get more value out of it that way. Or like if you buy like a retail, like an industrial building and then turn it into a retail building, it sells and rents at different costs per square foot. And
have you done any like commercial stuff, or do you usually try to stick to residential?
I would love to get into it. So the shops that we're building, this will be my first commercial project. That's where I'd like to get to, but from what I've seen, it requires a lot more cash to do it. So everything we do is a cash-based business. So you got to figure out where it's most useful to spend it. I'd love to do it. I haven't found a lot of deals for me that make sense. And honestly, the new builds seem to make as much sense as the flips do.
Okay.
Right now.
Dang.
I'm sure there's guys killing it in the flips. I don't have the time to go track down off market deals, especially in commercial.
maybe you start taking on partners for a commercial. I know I'm really not a partner guy, but I know a lot of people in commercial do. So maybe it's something to consider. I don't know. Or maybe just silent money partners. Who don't have the control, since that's the important thing for you. And it should be for everybody, I think. You know, like being able, if you're a professional and you know exactly what your vision is for the property and you have like the value add strategy and everything, and you don't want 8 different people kind of melting their own opinions and then nothing gets done correctly.
Well, and for me, the biggest thing is I wanted to be able to build it and fail on my own, because I didn't want to be, I never wanted to have to make the phone call to somebody else. We lost money because I made the decision. If I make it, I'll be much harder on myself when I screwed that decision up. I think we're getting to the point now where partnerships are going forward going to be a deal, but I wanted to be able to understand all sides of the business before I took a partner on, so then I can understand where I can add value or where somebody else can add value. A lot of guys seem to partner up right away and you're both learning at the same time. So you don't know what you're missing until
Mhm.
you've done the whole circle. Then you can look for a partner that's going to fit your yin to your yang, I guess.
And you're giving yourself a lot of time to build up a skill set and
Mhm.
expertise in certain areas too, which then you can take to a partner and be like, hey, I have this track record of success. I have done these things. And here's like what you're getting if you were to partner with me. And this is what I need. And you like just know more about yourself and your capacity too. So it's pretty wise. Pretty
So
wise.
obviously a lot of our listeners are going to be, just starting out or trying to learn still before they start even. For those people that might start out and be like, oh, I need to find a partner because I don't know this side of things. I mean, do you have, based on what you had just said, I mean, do you have any advice or something that you would tell those people who are like, well, I don't know how to do this. I need somebody to come in and do it for me?
I have probably an unpopular opinion when it comes to that. If you don't know how to do it and you're requiring somebody else to tell you how to do it, you're probably not a right fit for this. If you're not willing to take the risk, you can ask questions along the way. But if you want to have somebody come in and tell you how to do every step of the business, in my opinion, you're an employee, you're not an entrepreneur. Like if you need somebody to tell you the whole time how to do something, this probably isn't the right game for you. But if you're willing to say, hey, I don't know how to do this particular thing, I can find somebody to help me with that. I think that's the way to do it. But if you need to have somebody come in and do the whole thing, I think it's going to be a tough road ahead, because it seems like the people that they want everybody to help them, they're not willing to take the risk of you got to learn it on your own too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's for me, that's probably the biggest thing with this is this has been definitely more education doing the real estate thing than college has ever been, or any schooling I've done. Is you take a lot of learnings. You can have partners and you can have people that can help you avoid some of the learnings, but you have to at some points kind of step up for yourself and do some of that too.
Yeah.
Like a self-starter, being able to risk your own hard-earned money. It's so different. Like you talked about the employee mindset versus like someone that's going to go out there and be an investor. When you have your own money on the line, it's so different. Or like when you can only eat what you kill. Like if you go take down a deal, you make that money for yourself, or you potentially lose your own money. Like it's just, you are a very different person when it's like real, for you. But it's just like when people are just getting started, they have no money invested yet, and they're just trying to learn, they don't even have the opportunity quite yet to even have skin in the game, but they're interested. When I first started, I was like, well, I'm going to save up money for my W-2. I'm going to house hack because I'm already in this situation. I got myself into a house hack without knowing anything about real estate. I just thought I was smart as a 20-year-old. Turns out I wasn't, just for the record. I was super dumb. Still am, but at least I have some fundamentals, figured out. But I guess I was going to save up money and educate myself at the same time until I knew what to do with however much money I had. I'm like, I know I'm going to be able to put this to good use at some point. Right now, I don't know what that looks like, but I'm betting on my future self knowing, because of all the studying and self-education I'm going to do. And then I'm just like banking on myself taking action too in the future. Live super below my means now to have like this ideal lifestyle at some point in the future, for hopefully like indefinitely, like that's the whole purpose of being frugal when you're young. So would you recommend like taking the W-2 route and then just self-educating and then doing action taking little by little? Or like, I know that hot take was pretty good. I like that, because it's definitely not for everybody. Like being nervous about your house burning down, or putting 50 grand of your hard-earned money into like your first deal, and you're like, now my bank account's zero. That's not for everybody.
For me, there's a couple ways you can look at it. So for me, I've kept a W-2. I haven't needed a job for 3 or 4 years now. I've kept it because for me, it's always been a safety net. I think it depends on your level of hustle, right? If you're somebody who needs somebody to coach you on how to do things, and you want to partner with somebody, if you're partnering with somebody, you don't have the cash, you got to be able to bring that hustle to somebody. So if you can bring somebody the hustle, then I don't know that necessarily the W-2 is for you, or that you need to go that route. But if you're somebody who wants to learn and educate yourself and do all that stuff, a W-2 is a great opportunity. You work your 8 to 5, you go home at 5 o'clock and you study, you do your research, you go drive around, look at houses after 5 o'clock. It gives you the time to build up that savings as well as teach yourself. And that way you're not as nervous, in my opinion. The other thing it's going to give you is, if you're somebody who wants to do the deals on your own and you don't have the cash, keeping that W-2 job is going to allow the banks to give you a different opinion. If you're somebody who has no W-2 job and you're like, I want to go buy some deals, you essentially are forced to partner because you have no proof of income on these deals. I'm continuing my W-2 because the banks are like, we'll let you do some risky deals because we know you have guaranteed money coming in every month, which has been a big help. You can take a little more risks. You can do a little more things that you probably wouldn't be able to do if you didn't have that proven track record, especially starting out, I think.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. So at first, the W-2 was a safety net for your personal finances.
Mhm.
And now you just have it as a safety net for your investing finances. That's awesome. But so like you have enough cash flow from rentals and active income from the power sports business to kind of cover your day-to-day if you chose to go that route. But you're keeping the W-2, you're just plowing all your business profits back into just building more and more of the business up so that someday when you do decide to take profits out, it's just like there's just more there to take.
That's for me. It's I'm able to do everything. We don't have any kids right now, so that story might change once we have kids. But right now, you're up at anywhere from 5 to 7 a.m. and you work till 8 to 11 o'clock at night. So that's part of the caveat of having the W-2 is you have to be able to be willing to work that much. The other key piece, and I'm finding this more and more as I know my wife more and more, you have to have a damn good partner.
Yeah.
If you have a partner who does not support you, that's probably more important than job or no job, is having a partner who can support you and let you do what you need to do to get the job done. And she's been great at it. She helps whenever we can. I mean, that's for me probably the biggest asset I have is my wife.
Yeah, that's huge. You have to expect that it's going to be, it doesn't necessarily have to be tight for a long time, but it just is not going to be like excess. You're not going to be driving a brand new car, not going to be going on these huge vacations, but you can live comfortably. 2 people on the 60K. Like if you're just smart and don't do a lot of like stuff like buying junk, like a retail addiction, like retail therapy, or like stuff that is way like a coffee or beer, like those are super high margin consumerism type, like just blind consumerism. Like stay away from that. But for when you are working your day job and you come home and want to do a side hustle and you want to build a Dan-sized real estate conglomerate empire, you know, over the course of 7, 8 years, 10 years, how do you, one, keep the motivation to, on the day-to-day, come home and just keep grinding towards that goal? Because you can work 6 months without getting any payoff, right? Like your first deal, educating, making offers, doing scary things like cold calling, talking to sellers. How do you keep that motivation when you're not getting that dopamine hit? And then 2, like how do you structure your goals very early on?
So those are 2 great questions.
Maybe I'll just ask. Maybe
I haven't quite figured it out yet.
They're kind of linked a little bit.
Oh yeah, they're definitely linked. And for me, I'm not a goal setter, so I never set a goal of what I want to accomplish for the year. I let what happens, kind of whatever happens through the year. I'm happy with at the end of the year, as long as I'm farther ahead than when I started. Maybe I should set some goals, but there's so many things that's moving and changing for me to say I'm going to set goals. So I'm odd in that way, but keeping the motivation, especially after my first deal. Like before your first deal, it's really hard to keep the motivation because you write an offer, you get no's and you get no's and you get no's, and then eventually you get it. And once you get it, I equate it to drug addiction. You can never really go away from it. Once you get that first deal, things work. I mean, there's days it doesn't work, but once it starts working and it starts chiming and everything's running on all cylinders, I don't ever find a need that, hey, I need somebody to motivate me, because it's an addiction. Once you start, and then I'm one of the people that if I sit around for 4 hours, I feel like I've wasted my life.
Yeah.
So I always have to be moving, and it probably pissed off all my teachers in school that you got the one kid who can't stop moving. Well, now here's the benefit as an adult is you always got something going on.
No, it's
cool.
true though. Like you taste that success and you have, like, assuming you have learned how to underwrite deals and assuming that you're making profitable offers, all that stuff is 100% necessary in order to like make the deal work. But assuming like you know how to write an offer, you know how to underwrite the deal. Underwriting just means analyzing the numbers, making sure you cash flow and have some instant equity if that's your goal or whatever. But knowing all that stuff and then closing on that first deal and then just seeing it come to life, all that research, all those podcasts you listen to, books you're reading and stuff, it's like, oh, okay, like maybe that stuff, it seemed real, but then when you execute on their advice and you do it yourself and you're like, it was real. Oh my God, I can do this 10 more times and I'll be rich, like never have to work again. So, and you're solving someone's problem when you're buying a house too, like a fixer upper. It's not like you're stealing these properties from someone. Like it's actually like helping them and solving the problem that they've gotten themselves into. So I used to feel kind of bad about it, but I'm like, well, there is a big value to it. And they are in a position, regardless of whether you buy it or someone else buys it, like they have found themselves in a predicament. So I feel like it's a win-win. The lay person who doesn't really understand real estate or like hasn't dealt with people face to face at their kitchen table, like having those conversations, like I messed up, I went back on drugs, or I lost this house because of some divorce problems, or like whatever. Like they understand whatever it took to get them in that predicament, and then they also understand like you are an investor and you're here to help them, but also need to make money. So it's a good win-win. But you're right, it is like addicting because you get that big dopamine here. Like, yes, it worked. Like I can do this. I can do this a bunch more times, and like I am capable of it. Like some random kid with ADHD with a psychology degree can build a life for his wife and a retirement for his parents if he wants. It's freaking cool. That's when you got addicted. 25. And how long did it take you to get your second deal? And what did that look like?
So the first deal, we bought a twin home down the street. The second deal we bought was probably 8-10 months later. We bought a house just north of downtown, just a standard standalone house. And it was probably 10 months later. And it worked out really good. We had some hiccups with the financing, and all in all, it worked out really well.
Did you guys, when you bought your first deal, did you like start looking for the next one right away? Or did you kind of get through that first deal first?
So I got through the lease up. So the reason I buy these twin homes is there's very low vacancy. They fill very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as it's leased, I'm already looking for the next one.
Okay.
At least that was back then. Now I'm looking, if I buy one today, I'm looking later this afternoon to see if I can buy one tomorrow.
Yeah.
But
what kind of numbers would be a great deal for you now on a twin home? Like just kind of walk us through like high level.
So I've changed my tune, which is also part of why I've kept my W-2 job, is I've focused less on the cash flow because I've realized you have to have a lot of homes, a lot of properties to live off the cash flow and live the lifestyle I'd want to live if I wasn't working.
Mm-hmm.
I look at everything from an equity standpoint now. I need enough cash flow so that we hit our 1-2 debt coverage ratio, but anything above that, it's great. But I'm looking at this from an equity of, we want to own the house for between 1 and 5 years. And when we exit, we want to at least double our money. So whatever, if we put in 40,000, I want to leave with 80 in 3 years.
Okay.
It's kind of the strategy that I have.
Okay. So it's not like instant wealth. It's like even now you're looking at, 3-5 years down the road. Mm-hmm. And then when you exit the property, you're looking at probably bundling too, like selling groups.
Yep, selling in groups. Because the one thing I feel people don't talk about is you're going to live off the cash flow. If you're making $300 a month in cash flow on a property and the water heater goes out, there's 2 years of cash flow just gone. And that's the one thing that nobody tells you.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you focus on just cash flow, couple of big hits, you get a hailstorm and a water heater, there's 4 years of cash flow.
Mm.
So I focus on the equity piece, saying, hey, if we break even, we're happy, but I want to double my equity. I want to triple my equity. That's what I want to do.
Right. Yeah. And and you're able to do it because you have like the W-2 and your wife's W-2.
Mm-hmm.
So you both just champing out W-2 money, plus you're smart with getting good deals on properties that have some instant equity, some, like double equity over the time you own it. That's a pretty sweet strategy.
Mm-hmm.
So do you look for a certain percentage of a discount when you buy? And then do you do like any repair? I know you used to do repairs and stuff on them.
So we'll do repair. I'll do repairs every once in a while. I try not to. The less work I can do, the more time you have to do something else.
Mm-hmm.
Everything now I'm buying needs carpet and paint and some miscellaneous stuff. That's the extent of work that I like to do. We'll do more if we have to.
Just like a lot of aesthetic stuff.
A lot of aesthetic stuff. I mean, because what I want to do is I want to make it nice enough that when a tenant moves in, they never call me until they move out saying, hey, we're moving out. I don't want a tenant to move in and have the windows leaking and the pipes. Like I want it to be livable, and I don't want them to have to call me. They can call me any day of the week, but I don't want them to have to call me.
Right.
That's how I turn to them. That's how we're going to turn around and sell it to the next buyer.
Yeah.
So we'll do that right off the get-go. But I wouldn't say there's a set number. It's all dependent on how much cash we have available when the deal comes up.
Okay.
It's more of a gut feeling, honestly.
So you're not trying to get a $250,000 listing at $200,000 every time. It's more like, I'll take whatever discounts I can get, add some value by freshening up like the cosmetics and get a tenant in there.
And a lot of it for me, it's a gut feeling. It's going to depend on where it's at in town. If it's in an area I know it's a $250,000 house and I can get it for $200,000, but that area is growing. In 3 years, I'm going to have a much higher equity swing than a property that I paid $190 for. That's worth $250, but it's only worth $250 in 3 years too.
Mm.
So I'm looking more so down the line of what do I think? Where is it growing? Some of that stuff to try and determine.
How many rentals do you have at any given time?
Right now, we sold a bunch last year to fund our commercial project. I think I'm down to 12 right now. So
those are all houses?
Those are
right?
all houses,
Okay.
yep. So I've been selling things off as fast as I can.
Wow.
I think I've hit the top of the market. I know it's going to continue going up, but I think I've also found a time where we can capitalize and we can buy more. So my plan right now was to try and get rid of as many as we can and then double down. So you got one house to sell it, turn it into 2 or 3, and then turn around and double down.
Nice.
Because the goal by the end of this year would be, I think we're at 10 or 12 now. The goal is to be at 25 units by the end of the year.
Dang. And do you manage all of them yourself? Oh, wow.
Yep. That's where, for me, it's important. Once you turn that house to tenants, it's in perfect condition.
Yeah.
There's nothing you're fixing, because every time a tenant calls you, it's an hour. By the time you drive there, fix it, come home, that's an hour you could be doing something else. Where if you just do it on the front side, they walk into a perfect house.
Yeah.
You don't have to go back to it.
Front loading all the work, getting it turnkey ready so that it makes management way easier.
Yep. You're already in there painting, you're already in there fixing stuff, fix everything. Even if it's not broken, fix it. If it's gonna break,
Yeah.
you're already there.
So how much of this stuff, just fixing stuff, whether it's electrical, plumbing, painting, drywall, whatever it is that you have to do, how much of that did you learn while, like, from the time you started doing deals to now versus what you knew or learned before?
I would tell you, my dad's handy enough that he can figure some things out. I farmed with a guy I helped a guy farm for 10 years or whatever. I learned a lot of it there.
Yeah.
But the interior of the house and some of the basics, I've learned almost all of it. Either YouTube is probably the best tool to learn. You want to figure out sheetrock, type in sheetrock. There's 100 guys. Most of it, I would say, I've learned kind of on the job as we're doing this.
Yeah.
Just kind of whatever the project necessitates. But it's just like all these skills kind of snowball as well. Like your equity and profit snowball in business on the balance sheet and everything, but your skills do too. Like you only need to learn how to do replacing a water heater one time and then you can go do it. Not that you should, but like that's just kind of like the nature of the business. Why are you replacing
so many water heaters there?
They go out. They're made to fail. Like, but
yeah.
In the beginning, if you have to do some hands-on stuff, that's what you got to do to get into the game. Like that's what you got to do. Like you don't just not get a twin home because you have to replace some carpet.
Yeah. Well, and that's why
you figure it out.
That's why I asked too, because I'm like, even when we bought our house, that was our first house. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't just call the maintenance guy anymore. Like if something happens, like I got to do this. And I've learned a lot of stuff just at our house, but I imagine that has to be a big fear for a lot of people is like, oh, if I'm getting these rental properties or if I'm doing these flips and stuff and I got to do a lot of this work on my own and I don't know how to replace a sink or something, I imagine that, maybe not stops a lot of people, but it definitely holds up the progress for sure. We talked about like a lot of people sit in the education, they'll study and be like, oh, I need to learn all this stuff for 2 or 3 years and then never go out and do a deal.
Right.
Yeah.
But in reality, there's some stuff you just kind of got to get into it. So,
well, and the thing when you're sitting there and you're that analysis paralysis stage, you're worried, oh, I'm going to have to replace a sink. I'm going to have to do this. I've never replaced a sink. It's like all the things like you're so worried about, you're trying to solve every problem that you don't have before you have it. You have to be able to solve it. If you're not a problem solver, this is probably not the place. If you're a problem solver, you can do any of this stuff. Neither one of us were honor students. I mean, we figured it out. You just have to be able to solve some of those problems.
Yeah.
And know, hey, there's some things I can't tackle, but there's a guy who knows how to do it. It might cost us, but we'll learn as we go. It's the big key.
Every problem's fixable, like whether it's you figuring it out or having to hire a professional and pay the money. With YouTube, and people don't understand how capable they really are, I feel like. Like if you sit some random person in a room alone, like they'll figure out how to put some trim on the wall. Like you can figure it out. Like you said, like most of the stuff you are worried about might not even come to reality. If you had to put a number on it, like when you first got started and you were worried about all the things that every budding real estate investor is worried about, how many of those things actually, what percentage would you say of things actually went wrong that you were worried about going wrong?
Probably 2%.
2%.
I mean, our first year, our first house, we had a hailstorm come through. You pay the deductible, new roof put on, which was great. You had a 20-year-old house, now has a new roof. We had a furnace plugged. I didn't even know this was possible. The drain on the furnace plugged and all of the condensation from the inside of the furnace leaked out of the furnace into the carpet. I never predicted that to happen, but once it happens, make 2 phone calls. You got a carpet guy and a furnace guy there same day. It's solved.
Yeah.
But I think hearing these stories from other people tend to help. I mean, they help me a lot. Like, okay, like that's a potential problem, but that guy fixed it. Or that's a potential problem that guy avoided. I just listened to all these podcasts, just absorbed it. And I'm like, okay, well, the general theme here is that you can figure anything out. Every problem is solvable. There's either a time commitment or a dollar amount that you have to throw at it, and then it's done. But the important thing is to build yourself into a position with these properties where you can absorb that. Like if you have the time to go fix it and you feel like you're a problem solver, boom, like that, there's your solution. Or if you have enough equity where you can do like a line of credit for a big thing that goes wrong, or if you have enough cash in the bank from like a cash out refi you did on the property where you can just, you don't have a problem texting your plumber or your electrician at like 9 o'clock at night and be like, hey, $200, go fix this problem. So if you have enough cash in the bank, you can solve a problem. Or if you have enough, like, I don't know, just like grit and YouTube subscription, like you can figure it out.
I mean, you can figure it out, but it's awesome and wild to hear that like most of what people worry about, it's all in your head. You know, like you said, 2% of problems that you thought you were going to have to deal with, you actually had to deal with. Like, and we just heard from another guest that kind of said something similar too, where it's like people plan for so many issues and in reality it's not that bad. It's just kind of cool to hear from other people that are doing this, have been through it, say like, yeah, I thought I was going to have to deal with a lot of these things. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah, it's the internal battle, especially at the beginning. So listening to these podcasts, reading books, like trying to build yourself that confidence to take action is huge. And then once you have that payoff of that first deal, it helps just propel you forward. You're like, oh, okay, I'm not too, it helps quell some of those fears down a little bit. Yeah, it's that internal battle. It's like the self-doubt, those deprecating thoughts where you're like, oh, like I am not good enough, or I don't know what I'm doing and I should just quit because this is too big of a goal or too big of a project or something. Even finding like someone else, like you mentioned, you talked to other people that were doing it, like other investors and stuff, having someone in your corner. So if you can network, or if you have a mentor, even a mentor is overrated, like just networking with local people that can just encourage you, you know, like that'll just help bridge that gap from 0 to 1. And then once you're past that, then it's, you know, assuming it all works out and it's successful, like there's no shortcuts for understanding the numbers. You have to learn that.
Yep.
You know, like it's not just to say everyone can jump into business and only 2% will fail or whatever. There's no shortcutting the work. You have to understand the fundamentals and stuff. But assuming you put the amount of time in to get all that nailed, then get out of your own way and just take action and go for it. Because there's like that sweet spot, analysis paralysis, never doing anything. You always want to like maintain the motivation, and you can always learn stuff too. So like if you have dead time driving a lot or something, throw on our podcast. All of our episodes you can listen to at 1.5 speed.
1.5 speed. So what was, when you were kind of first getting started out, what was like the biggest thing that you actually struggled with?
So the numbers to me make sense now as a seasoned investor, but it was tough to try and find comparables that I felt were realistic. Because you go on some of these websites and some of these houses have been listed for a year. If there's only 5 comparables, that was for me the hardest part, is trying to understand what's real market rents and what can I charge. Because there's a lot of big companies in town that they just want to get them filled as fast as they can. They got investors to get their paycheck. Whereas if you're the small guy, you can charge a little bit more. People don't want to be with the big company. Yeah. For me, it was finding the comparables and making sure the numbers were accurate. Looking back, had I figured that out faster, I'd probably have twice the amount of houses I do now. I mean, because the housing market from when I started till now has tripled. I think my first house was 170,000.
Oh, wow.
Looking back now, I wish I would have bought 25 of them.
Right. Yeah.
But I was nervous on $1,000 that it wouldn't work. Yeah. So it's some of that, just if I could figure out the numbers faster, I would have been in a way better position than I am now.
Do you think you could go from starting at absolute zero to becoming like a net worth millionaire in 5-year stretch?
Yes.
No hesitation. No hesitation. Before I even finish, he's like, yeah, absolutely. It's pretty realistic, right? Like if you're smart with it, educate yourself properly and do value add compounding deals. I mean, we've both done the value ads and those are just so good. I mean,
knowing what you know now, where would you recommend somebody to start to try to reach that millionaire in, you know, let's say 10 years? Or 5 years if you wanted.
So I've obviously got a different way I went about this. Is for me, if you're going to do it, the value add is the easiest way to do it. So if you don't have enough money to put a downstroke on a house, you probably got enough money to buy $1,000 item that's worth $1,500. And then what is it, Gary Vee, the guy that goes to garage sales and flip stuff?
Yeah.
Essentially, we did the same thing, but on a little bit bigger scale than Gary Vee, but not on the same scale houses. Find some way to take your money and double it. And double it again and double it again until you can get into the bigger deal. If you double something 10 times, you start at 1,000. What is that? I don't forget the number. I'm not very good at math, but
2. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to get Nicole down here. She's got the math degree. Doubling it 10 times. It's like exponential growth. Yep. And if you can just keep asking yourself, how do I double this?
That's exactly it. And that's because the problem everybody says is, I don't have the money to put the down payment on my first burr. Well, if you have $1,000, you can turn 1,000 into 1,500 over a course of a week. 1,500 to $3,000 or however long it takes you. It might take you a year to come up with it. But then once you have the funds for the house, buy the house and just continually work, rehab it. It's a long process. If you think it's going to be done in a week, the only way it's going to be done in a week is if you got somebody write you a big check. That's about the only way.
Yes. It doesn't happen overnight.
And everybody gets sidetracked. They want to be in real estate so bad that all they're focused on is buying houses. If you're handy, go get a job as a handyman. Go help. Hey, call an electrician. Hey, do you need somebody to sweep your floors in your shop?
Yeah.
Something to get you that extra income. Because at the same time, what that's going to do is it's going to open doors. I haven't ever bought a house from a customer in the power sports business, but I've talked to a lot of guys who do shops, do other things in the power sports business that it's opened my network.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never bought anything from them, but
Not yet.
Not yet.
You know, like that's such great advice. Like there's always something you can do. And if it's a means to an end, keep doing it. It's not bad. You can always optimize later. Like
Yep.
I love that. Get started. Like I always tell people to flip couches. I saw like some influencers flipping couches. You know, like there's deals to be had at every level. Like
Yeah.
and that's just so perfect. Your hustle can turn into some cash. And hustle is just like the amount of cash you make from your hustle is proportionate to like the skill that's behind that hustle. So always try to be improving. So you could just do that every single day in your spare time.
Yep.
And then how long until you could make it like a little war chest of 10, 20 grand? Like,
depends on how hard you want to work, honestly.
yeah, how good you get at finding deals and stuff too. Like if you're quick and really fast, like it teaches you speed is important for deals. It teaches you like cash is king kind of, you know, and then being able to understand values of what I can pay, what I can probably sell this for, how much work I'm gonna have to put in the meantime. And all those skills translate directly to like maybe indirectly, but to real estate too.
It's the same concept. Once you figure out how to buy something for less than it's worth and sell for what it's worth, whether it's a couch, a car, a house, it's the same concept on everything. The key with it is be agile. If you buy a couple couches, you can't sell them. Okay, fine. You realize, hey, this didn't work. Figure out what works. Maybe lamps is your thing or table. Like you got to find what I find everybody gets so pigeonholed in what they're doing that they get so far down the path, they don't look around to see because you're really good at flipping couches. Well, maybe you're good at selling cars. Now you take your margins and your margins keep increasing. That's how you get to that next level, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Just keep growing that skill set. And how can and having that end goal in mind, like just growing, even if your end goal is hazy and you don't know where you want to be in 5 years, you can just be like growth oriented. Like, how can I just keep growing, building myself up to be more valuable? Then you're like scrolling, you know, like you're teaching yourself everything you need to learn. And like that kind of work ethic, you could just apply that to the next thing. Like if I wholesale a grill off Facebook Marketplace or I wholesale a house, either way, I'm deal hunting. There's a lot of fundamentals that are the same. So like you buy a house off market, you have to know a lot more things and it's like a higher dollar amount, you know, but you can wholesale commercial real estate. People do that, you know, it's just like what level of scale do you want to operate on?
So I feel like a lot of people probably don't want to bother with this because it's like small scale or whatever. But do you think that would be like a good, if somebody's kind of just looking to get into it a little bit, but might be nervous or something, like going and trying some of those small, like flip Facebook Marketplace deals would be like a good way to like kind of ease them into it or see, you know, like, hey, just go try it or just go do this for a little bit. And if you really freaking hate doing that, then like, I don't know if that translates like to, you're probably not going to like doing house flips, or maybe it will. I don't know.
I think it depends. It depends on the item you're selling too, right? There's different kinds of people selling different kinds of items. What it'll allow you to do is it allow you to figure out, do I like to buy, fix and sell? Or do I just want to buy and rent? Or maybe this isn't for me, but I think doing something and I look at that from a standpoint of not to learn, but to generate your cash. So if you're somebody that doesn't need to do the flips to do it, by all means, I probably wouldn't start flipping couches if you don't need the cash.
Yeah.
But if you're somebody, you have $1,000 in your bank account, spend 500 and turn it into 1,500. That's where that flipping stuff works. And
that's awesome.
That's where I was in the position at 25. You got a good job, but buy a house that's 40,000 down. Well, you got to come up 40,000 again to buy the next one. That's for me, that was what worked.
Cool.
Same concept, I think, applies to everything there.
You run out of money pretty quick if you're putting 20% down on everything.
Yeah.
And that's when I learned about the BRRRR. And I'm like, this is the way to scale.
Yep.
Cool.
But yeah, working, like trading your time for money and then putting that on down payments is going to take you a long time. You can still become a multimillionaire in real estate, but you're just playing the slow and really safe game. And it's you're not taking advantage of all that appreciation that's happening over the years.
So when you were first starting out, did you ever have, we call it a misfit moment, where it was either like I don't know what the heck I'm doing, or maybe I don't belong in kind of this realm of real estate people, or maybe it was with the power sports or something, but did you ever have kind of that moment of like, I don't know what I'm doing, or maybe I'm making a mistake here or anything like that?
I've had many of those moments. So, I mean, I think anybody that's done this long enough is going to have all those moments. For me, the biggest thing is when I first started out, you got one rental property. Someone told me, tell everybody you have rentals. They'll get sick of hearing it, but at least they'll know you have rentals and it might lead somewhere. So you start doing that enough times and you start meeting people. And then it's like, you're sitting there and it's like, you got one rental house, your own house and a rental house. And then you tell enough people. So then now you're around guys that have 500, 1,000 units. You always feel like, for lack of better terms, kind of a piece of shit sitting next to him. It's like, these guys are multimillionaires and I don't want to take any of his time, but it's like, everybody's willing to help you if you're willing to help yourself. For me, that's probably the biggest thing is it's like getting away from that comparison. You only have one house. Great. You got one house more than 99% of the rest of the world.
Yeah.
So that was the biggest thing for me to overcome is like, talk about your successes and tell people, hey, this is what we're doing. Hey, can we help you? Can you help us? That's for me probably the biggest misfit moment is always feeling like you don't belong in the room when you know the room is much bigger than you.
Yeah.
Yeah, comparison is the thief of joy is what I've heard. It's so true though. There's always going to be people that are bigger and better, you know, but like that shouldn't stop you from feeling good about what you've done.
And once you get over that, it's like you can use those guys to help you grow and you can help the other guys grow too. But it's like you're sitting there and you're always comparing. It's like, I'm nothing. I got one house and then like you got nothing. For me, it gave me the motivation. It's like, there's your goal setting is you got a guy in the room that's got 1,000 units and you got one. I want to do what he's doing. What is he doing differently?
Yeah. I don't want to feel like a piece of shit anymore.
Yep, exactly.
It can be a motivator too, but yeah, like you said, once you have that first one and then you get addicted and like you want to do more and more successful things, then you just feel good about what you've accomplished and stuff and get away from the comparison. That's a good misfit moment. But what about the other side of the coin when you're like, I did it?
So for my millionaire moment, I would say it was probably the first time I was able to write a deal and say, hey, it's all cash. And then knowing on the backside, I wasn't borrowing any of the money for the deal. It was lake property. We bought a lake property that the intention of using it, never did. Flipped it on a contract for deed, but we're able to sell it, which is great. But it was also the first property that we paid in all cash and had never borrowed any money against. So then for me, that was a big moment because if I can get away from using the banks, great. They serve their purpose, but it's nice to be able to say, hey, I paid that in cash. I don't know anything on it.
That's all. That just feels so gangster. You're like, I bought that house cash because there's always cash offers. Even wholesalers will try to offer cash, but there's no weight behind it.
Yep.
But when you have the cash in the bank and it's yours, and you're like, this is my cash offer, and you can look the seller in the eye and be like, I can pull up my bank account and show you, like not as a brag, but just as like a matter of fact. If they ask
cut
you,
the check and walk away,
because sometimes they will. Sometimes they'll be like, hey, is that like your money? You have that? Because they don't maybe looking at me, they don't look like I have like cash in the bank. I don't know, but I'm like, yeah, I got it. I can show you.
Yep.
And it's just the weight behind that is so gangster. So I can totally relate to that.
That's awesome.
And a lake place, I like how you threw that in there too. Yeah, it's lake, no big deal,
Well, the intention was to buy it and live out there, and then we just didn't like the neighbors, so we sold it and put on a contract for deed, and
nice.
Turned out really well.
Is that gone or is it still on contract?
Still collecting our interest payments. So
okay, so did you ever finance it, or that's all your cash? A lot of cash is still parked in there.
Yep, just parked there.
Okay, nice. But could you refinance it and pull equity?
I tried one time that you probably could, but you probably had to put more effort in than I did.
Oh, okay. If you needed it, but
if you needed it, you probably figure it out.
The terms are fine and you're happy with it.
Yep. Yeah, it's a 3-year term, so it's not like it's the end of the world. And there's really nothing right now for me to buy that'd be a better deal than what I got it in there for. So
okay, so yeah, what's next for you?
Probably just stabilizing what we have and figuring out which way we want to go. We got a little bit of everything. We got flips, we got single families, we got contract for deeds, new builds. Next for me is just figuring out, probably let the next 6 months go, see what happens, and figure out which way we want to go. I'd love to get out of all my single families, but they're working. Everything we have right now is working. So we're just trying to figure out what's going to work better and kind of see where the next 6 to 8 months brings us, and probably just try and find one alleyway and pick it and just run down it.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, the idea for me is less management intense, and whatever we can do to be less management intense, that's probably, if we can get the same return with little management, that's kind of my goal. And if we can buy, for me, it's a 1 to 5 year hold. So if we can hold something for a year, get rid of it, double down and turn one into two, I'll do that all day. It's just those deals are harder and harder to find compared to what they were 5 years ago.
So way down the road, after owning those shops for 5-10 years, would those follow the same strategy plan where like maybe keep it for 5 or 10 and then sell and
we'll see how I want to see how they work. So that's a little bit of my what if. That's a fairly large project that I've taken down. I want to see how well it works, how quickly it fills, some of that stuff.
Yeah.
The idea is they'll be condoed out, so we can sell one unit, we can sell the whole building. The plan was in
Exit strategies.
exit strategies,
Exit
but
strategies.
either sell them individually as condos, and we'll see where the market is when that time comes, or sell the whole complex to a REIT and start over and do it all over again. But my goal was, or just if they work the way we've planned it and taken all our precautions, just put up one a year and just keep holding them until we need money for something else.
So do you use that just to continue to feed the snowball, or do you? Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I knew the answer, but like I just thought,
until I quit my job, then there's no point to take the money out. What are you gonna go do? Buy a fancy car?
right.
I drive a pickup truck. It's good enough, and I don't need this stuff. And for me, the one thing that catches everybody is they get boat payments and they got all their toy payments.
Mm-hmm.
I got free use of toys anytime I want them.
Yeah.
So I've eliminated that ability to.
You've mitigated your risk
Yep.
of risk is
Yeah.
manly toys and stuff.
That's
That's
sweet.
smart, man. That's definitely a concern, is that lifestyle creep, lifestyle inflation. Make more money or make more income, and instead of pouring it back into the business, like reinvesting it, people like, oh, they start feeling themselves,
Yeah.
and they're like, I'm going to buy this because I can, I'm like, it's more badass, in my opinion, to like be able to buy like a new Corvette cash and then not, and be like, oh, I could buy that cash. Not
Yeah.
gonna, but I could,
And
But I
it's-
could.
It still baffles. Like I'm wearing cheap clothes. I mean, I'm wearing work jeans. Like it still baffles me that they make an extra $1,000 instead of saving it or doing something. They go spend it on clothes or something that's essentially a wearable throwaway item.
Yeah.
blow it on consumerism. And you look good, by the way. Anyone who's not on YouTube, Dan's looking real good. But you make a really good point. I know some investors who will wear like $100 t-shirt, like Gucci or something like that, or like a $200 t-shirt, or they're wearing Louis Vuitton shoes and stuff. And like that's fine for some people. Like that, to each their own. If they made that money, go ahead and spend it.
Right.
But like the snowball is such a powerful concept and kind of fun, to execute on. And just like the longer you can delay pulling money out for personal reasons, the bigger and bigger and bigger it gets, which means the cooler lifestyle you can have later, or a bigger retirement, or if you have other missions in life, like the more options you're giving your future self.
That's why I probably shouldn't pull my shirt up on the show.
Let's
but
see it.
You got the Bent Rock Investments shirt.
Nice.
My wife hates it.
Bent Rock?
That's our company name, but I got rid of all my clothes, like or I shouldn't say all my clothes, but all my t-shirts. And there's a company that makes them, so I just ordered 50 shirts.
Nice.
So all I wear is our own brand now, and it's cheaper than buying regular clothes. It's like everything we have we're at least advertising for ourselves. But
well, you can say you're wearing name brand clothes. It's my own name brand, but shit.
Well, you pay $50 for a t-shirt and it's somebody else's brand. Why wouldn't you at least put your own brand on it? And it's $5 a shirt. So
yeah, exactly. We're all self-repping here.
Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of Bent Rock, is that if I need to sell a twin home fast, is that who I contact?
Yep.
Bent Rock Investments. Okay. Where you have a website
we
or
got no website, no Facebook,
Okay.
just my cell phone number, which I guess you can link it in the description.
What about a Google account? Can I search you on Google?
No. That's the catch is we really don't do any external.
And you've
advertising.
had that amount of success with none of no online presence. Like
No
that's
online
insane.
presence. I had a Facebook page once, and then the neighbors started yelling at me on it.
Oh,
So I just deleted it. I'm like, I'm done with this.
immediately too. You're like, well,
Wow.
thanks,
This
Karen.
was not worth
Thanks,
it. Yeah.
But
That's cool.
that's awesome to
Yeah.
because everyone's always like saying you should be online, you should be everywhere. But I mean, just living proof that you can just go out and make offers on the MLS or find the occasional off-market deal. Was that twin home that you sniped from me? Was that a Facebook Marketplace listing? I can't remember.
What was the app? Like I think it was called Nextdoor. Maybe.
Nextdoor app.
So I put one. I downloaded the app one time, put one post on it, and got one deal.
Nice.
So literally, that's
You're batting 1,000.
batting 1,000 on off markets. Exactly.
You heard it here, you guys. Download Nextdoor app. You're guaranteed to find real estate deals to snipe from your friends.
Guaranteed. That's wild.
Yep.
That's awesome, dude. Okay,
Cool.
so I mean, maybe maybe you just live in mystery and have no online presence. Do you have a
Yeah.
business line separate than yourself?
No.
You don't even have a separate. Okay, that's
very
encouraging.
old school. For me, some of it's like, yeah, I probably should do it, and I know I should have done it a long time ago. It's working, so why mess with it?
That's true. I mean,
If you want to get a hold of me, bentrockinvestments@gmail would be the best way to get a hold of me.
okay. Sounds good. Or they can call us, and if I don't want to snipe the deal from Dan, I'll pass it along.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
I'll leave all my socials, and I'll find you some deals.
Good enough. Yeah.
If you want to get a hold of Dan, let us
You
know.
owe me one.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that just shows that you don't need all that social media stuff to find success. It's all about finding the deals, having a plan, working the strategy.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's pretty encouraging to me, actually. Because
Yeah.
a lot of times I thought about like just being like the stealthy wealth, The Millionaire Next Door. Have you read that book? Loved it. But yeah, it's all about being like your bank account, big bank account, like low lifestyle, like low brag.
Yep.
And especially if you can fly under the radar, you're avoiding like regulations, city scrutiny, like permit hounds, Karen neighbors, all that stuff. And it's probably
Nobody
better.
needs to know how much money you make or what you do with
Yeah.
your time. It's
Right.
it's nobody's business but your own. And if you're one of the people that need to tell people,
Yeah.
good for you. But it doesn't work for me.
Then you just come on a podcast and talk about how much money you make.
So speaking of books then,
Oh yeah.
do you have any like good books that you've read that you maybe recommend to people starting out or kind of, beginners in this?
The only book
Crazy
I would
world.
say I've read like 3 books since high school, well, probably since junior high. The one book I would recommend, don't do it on a vacation because you'll suck your whole vacation away. I did that. That doesn't seem to work very well.
Would not
but
recommend.
The Burr book by Brandon Turner.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome.
It's a very basic book, and at that point I was already doing Burrs, but I want to see if I could pick up a couple of things. Well worth the $15 it costs or whatever it is.
Just the massive amount of ROI on a good book.
Mm-hmm.
And then any people you follow on social media that we can tag and shout out. So
Honestly, no.
that's not surprising. That's not surprising.
I live under the radar. I kind of do my own thing.
Just silently
cool.
crushing it
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
off the grid. Not
Sweet.
anymore. Not for long. Now you're
Not for
famous.
long. Cool.
That's awesome, man.
We really appreciate you coming on, Dan. That was awesome to hear kind of everything that you've been doing. And I mean, I know even working with Eric, you do a lot of real estate stuff, but there's a ton of new information here that I haven't heard with, a lot of the real estate market stuff. Some of the stuff you're doing is cool. The advice you had was really cool. So we really appreciate you coming out and doing this.
Yeah,
That was
man. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
It's
a lot
awesome.
of good advice.
Yeah, no,
Cool.
we appreciate you coming on, dude.
Yeah,
This
thanks
has
for having
been
me.
super fun and
Yeah.
such good advice too. Such just classic wisdom, simple concepts, but they're so powerful when you actually put them to practice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us. This has been Millionaire Misfits with Dan Coombe, the man, the myth, the legend. A little callback to Bigger Pockets, our origin stories. But join us next time. More real estate, business, and investing tips.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
See you next time.
'Cause that's kind of how I know you as like the twin home guy. I think a lot of people are like, but like it makes sense. They're
Yep.
great. I think you even bought one that I was trying to buy.
I did steal that
You
one.
stole
from
one.
you.
Yeah.
That was the only time I
Now-
ever marketed on my own.
And now for the real reason we brought you here.
He sold that one.